Imagine willingly signing up for an experiment, only to find yourself in a simulated prison with no escape. In the heat of August 1971, a chilling experiment unfolded in the basement of the Stanford University Psychology Building. Guided by the esteemed psychologist Philip Zimbardo, the Stanford prison experiment sought to delve into the darkest corners of human nature, investigating the psychological effects of perceived power. The aim of this groundbreaking study was to dissect the struggle between prisoners and prison officers, exploring the often blurred lines between the oppressed and the oppressors. Volunteers were randomly assigned roles, either as prisoners or as guards in a mock prison environment. The participants were ordinary college students, yet the roles they were thrust into profoundly affected their behavior and mental state. Surprisingly, or perhaps alarmingly, the guards rapidly embraced their roles, enforcing authoritarian measures and subjecting the prisoners to psychological torture. The prisoners, on the other hand, passively accepted this abuse, succumbing to feelings of helplessness and despair. The power dynamics had taken a terrifyingly real turn, but as the days progressed, the experiment spiraled out of control. The guards' sadistic pleasure grew and the prisoners' mental health began to deteriorate. What was meant to be a simple study of human behavior became a haunting spectacle of human cruelty and submission. The experiment, initially planned to run for 2 weeks, had to be halted after just 6 days due to the extreme emotional distress experienced by the participants. Ethical concerns were raised, and the world watched in horror as the disturbing details of the experiment came to light. Despite the ethical controversies, the Stanford prison experiment provided a profound, albeit chilling, insight into the human psyche. It revealed how quickly people can adapt to assigned roles, especially when those roles are backed by institutional authority. It demonstrated the effects of power dynamics and how they can transform ordinary individuals into oppressors and the oppressed. This experiment, though chilling, provided a deep insight into the human psyche and the effects of power dynamics. How far would you go to obey an authority figure, even if it meant causing harm to others? This haunting question was at the heart of one of the most terrifying studies ever conducted in the field of psychology, the Milgram experiment. In 1961, social psychologist Stanley Milgram devised an experiment to delve into a chilling aspect of human nature: our obedience to authority. Milgram was curious about the extent to which ordinary individuals would comply with an authority figure's commands, even when these commands directly resulted in harm to others. In the experiment, participants were led to believe that they were administering real electric shocks to another person, a learner, who was actually a confederate of the researchers. These shocks were ostensibly a punishment for incorrect answers in a memory task. The teachers or the real subjects were instructed by an authority figure to increase the shock level with each wrong answer. The shocks weren't real, but the participants didn't know that. They were told they were delivering shocks ranging from a mild 15 volts to a dangerous 450 volts. The learner would react to these shocks, screaming in agony, begging for mercy, even feigning unconsciousness. What's truly horrifying is that despite the apparent suffering of the learner, a significant majority of participants continued to administer the shocks when ordered by the authority figure. Even when they expressed discomfort or questioned the ethics of the task, they were simply told they had no choice but to continue. The results were disturbing. A staggering 65% of participants went all the way, administering what they believed to be lethal shocks. This chilling outcome demonstrated that most people were willing to cause harm to others if instructed by an authority figure. As disturbing as it may sound, the Milgram experiment revealed the dark side of human obedience. It forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth about ourselves, about the potential for cruelty that lurks within when commanded by those we perceive as authoritative. It's a chilling reminder of the horrors that can unfold when obedience takes precedence over empathy and morality. What happens when a scientific experiment goes so far as to potentially scar children for life? Welcome to the disturbing world of the monster study. This notorious experiment was conducted in the year 1939 by Wendell Johnson, a speech pathologist at the University of Iowa. Johnson's work, while groundbreaking in the field of speech pathology, took a dark turn with this particular study. The monster study, as it came to be known, had a simple yet horrifying premise. to induce stuttering in healthy children. Johnson and his team selected 22 orphan children for their experiment, half of whom were subjected to negative speech therapy, essentially being told repeatedly that they were stutterers. The other half received positive speech therapy, reinforcing their normal speech patterns. The results were as unsettling as the study's design. Many of the children who underwent negative therapy developed speech problems that lasted for years, some for the rest of their lives. The psychological impact was equally severe, with children showing signs of low self-esteem, fear of speaking, and overall emotional distress. The monster study has been widely criticized for its blatant disregard for ethical standards. It's a chilling example of how scientific curiosity, when devoid of empathy and ethical constraints, can lead to damaging consequences. The children who suffered were not merely subjects of an experiment, they were victims of a monstrous act. The ramifications of the monster study did not end with the experiment itself. It sparked an intense debate about the ethics of scientific research, leading to stricter guidelines and regulations. Even today, the study serves as a grim reminder of the potential harm that can be inflicted in the name of science. In the end, the monster study stands as a testament to the dark side of scientific curiosity, a chilling example of how far researchers can go when ethical boundaries are crossed. It's a stark reminder that in the pursuit of knowledge, the welfare and dignity of human beings should never be compromised. The monster study, a chilling testament to the potential harm of unethical scientific research. What if your government was conducting mind control experiments, using you as a test subject without your knowledge? Picture that scenario for a moment and let it sink in. This isn't a plot from a dystopian novel or a Hollywood sci-fi movie. This is the story of the MK-Ultra experiment, a real-life occurrence in the annals of American history. In the throes of the Cold War, the CIA embarked on a covert operation, codenamed Project MK-Ultra. Their goal? To develop techniques for mind control, information extraction, and psychological torture. They intended to use these techniques as weapons against the Soviets, but the subjects of their experiments were often unsuspecting American citizens. The operation was vast, spanning over 100 sub-projects, each designed to explore different aspects of behavioral modification and mind control. These experiments included everything from hypnosis and sensory deprivation to electroconvulsive therapy. But the most notorious aspect of MK-Ultra was its use of drugs. The CIA administered substances like LSD and other hallucinogens, often without the knowledge or consent of the subjects. These substances were given in a variety of settings, ranging from controlled laboratories to brothels. The agency hoped that these drugs would open the mind, making it susceptible to manipulation and control. Imagine for a moment the terror of these test subjects, unaware of what was happening to them, experiencing hallucinations, paranoia, and sometimes even a complete breakdown of their sense of self. It's a horrifying thought, isn't it? Yet, despite the extensive efforts and the ethically dubious methods employed, MK-Ultra failed to produce any reliable or practical mind control techniques. The program was officially halted in 1973, but its legacy lives on, a chilling reminder of how far some are willing to go in the name of national security. And so, we come to the end of our journey into the dark underbelly of experimental psychology with the MK-Ultra experiment, a shocking example of government-sanctioned mind control. A tale of manipulation, violation, and an insatiable thirst for power. A tale that serves as a stark reminder of the lengths to which entities will go, all in the name of progress and control. From simulated prisons to mind control, these experiments have pushed the boundaries of ethical research. As we delve into the darkest corners of scientific history, it's impossible to ignore the Stanford prison experiment. This chilling study saw ordinary students morph into tyrannical prison guards and submissive prisoners, demonstrating the frightening power of situational forces on human behavior. The experiment raised profound questions about the very nature of our personalities and the ethical boundaries we must respect in psychological research. The Milgram experiment, too, stands out as a terrifying exploration of obedience to authority. Ordinary individuals were led to believe they were administering painful electric shocks to others simply because they were told to do so. This study revealed the disturbing lengths people will go to comply with authority, even when it contradicts their personal morals. Then, we have the unsettling monster study, which showcased how negative reinforcement can impact a child's speech development. This study, conducted on orphan children, left them with lasting psychological scars, highlighting the monumental responsibility researchers carry when dealing with vulnerable populations. The bizarre MK Ultra experiment marks another low point in the annals of science. In a futile attempt to control the human mind, the CIA administered drugs, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation techniques on unsuspecting subjects. The experiment not only failed in its objectives, but also violated the basic human rights of its subjects. These experiments, despite their ethical failings, have left an indelible mark on psychology and beyond. They've helped shape our understanding of human behavior, authority, and the mind's vulnerabilities. And yet, they also serve as a stark reminder of the ethical lines that must never be crossed. In the pursuit of knowledge, we must ensure that respect for human dignity and rights remains paramount. These chilling experiments serve as a stark reminder of the length science can go and the ethical lines it should never cross. As we leave the shadowy realms of these notorious experiments, we are left with a chilling sense of the depths to which human curiosity can plunge. Yet, it's crucial to remember that these dark chapters, while disturbing, have helped shape many of the ethical safeguards we now have in place for scientific and psychological research. They serve as a stark reminder of the lines we must never cross in the pursuit of knowledge. We hope this journey into the dark side of history has been as enlightening for you as it has been for us. If you found this exploration intriguing and want to learn more about other lesser-known, yet equally unsettling events in history, do consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to receive notifications for our upcoming videos. Together, we can continue this journey of discovery, always remembering the lessons of the past as we forge a path into the future.